what I want to show you is that, in fact, the very first pictures, the very first frescoes, the very first paintings of who they call Jesus was indeed a black man. And it wasn't until over time that they eventually changed them to what, folks would call European, or AKA white men. All right. So with all that being said, so hopefully you all can see my screen and hopefully my audio is okay. So what you see on the screen is I actually do have a second book. And it kind of falls into the booklet category. It's not really a full-fledged book, but it's just a quick hitter, a small book that is going to cover a lot of what we're talking about today. And again, it's going to be filled with archaeological facts. It's going to be filled with the original, pictures of the original pictures of who Yahusha or Jesus is, right? So what I try to do, family, is, if you guys are new to this channel, is I try to stay away from, from secondary sources. I try to go to the primary source. When we do our research, we always try to take a look at sources that were published before the 1850s, because usually those sources have a different narrative on there. And it wasn't until after the 1850s that things started to change. Whitewashing was in full swing. Of course, what also parallels with that time is we were released from captivity, right? Remember, Emancipation Proclamation, 1863, 1865, the chains fell off. Also, right around that time is when we start to see this narrative of who people are start to change. And remember, when we were in slavery, we could not read those books under punishment of death or maiming. Like if a slave was caught reading a book that was written, around the 1850s or before the 1850s, their thumbs were cut off, or worse, they were they were unalived, right? And so it makes sense that after the shackles fell off, that the books changed. They changed the books. So with all that being said, family, just wanted to put out there that along with that, we also see a changing of the image of who they call Jesus. So what I want to do, family, what I'll do is we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to take a look at the oldest depiction of Jesus. We're going to take a look at where it is located. Read a little bit of the history about where it's located and how it came about. And I'm also going to show you the change that took place over time. All right. So with that being said, family, so let me pull up. We're just going to go about this a couple of different ways. I'm going to pull up see if I can pull up my browser first. Now, I'm not a big fan of Wikipedia. Actually, when I do my research, I specifically avoid Wikipedia, unless I am mining for primary sources. Like I'll go through Wikipedia, but I very seldomly will include it in any presentations that I do, because it's not really. Sometimes I feel it's not vetted as well as it could be. But at the very least, it can be a place to mine or grab primary sources. But in this case, I'm going to use Wikipedia just to give you an idea, because they do have some good pictures as far as where Dura Europos is. And this is the location of where you'll find the oldest depiction of Jesus to date. Confirmed. It is literally in a church. They literally got the oldest picture of Jesus from a church. It's a church that's in a house in Dura Europa. So you can see it there on the screen, family, Dura Europa. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on some of these pictures on the right-hand side just to give you some orientation as to where it is. So you can see, so this is Syria. So Syria, of course, has been in the news. And actually, let me back out here. I'm going to flip through some of these screens, through some of these pictures. And you can see these are pictures from the site. Now, this one is a good picture, because one of the main takeaways of this is that the location in Dura Europa has what I call two important buildings in there, as far as what we're talking about today. So the first thing you'll notice is that Dura Europa is right off of the Euphrates River. You can see the Euphrates River right on the top right corner of your screen. The second thing that you'll notice, you'll see all these different sections here. So these are buildings that were identified as part of the Dura Europos excavation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in. So again, Dura Europos is right on the banks of the Euphrates River. We're going to zoom in. You can actually zoom in quite a bit. And on the left-hand side, what we're going to do, family, is we're going to take a look at two houses. So the first house I want you to take a look at, family, you'll see where it says M8 Christian House Church. So M8 Christian House Church, that's one. And then the other one we're going to take a look at is L7 Synagogue. So that's M8 Christian House Church, L7 Synagogue. And just to give you an orientation as to where it's located. So those two structures are on the back side of Dura Europa. So you'll see M8 and then just two buildings or two structures up. You'll see L7. Well, actually, probably three. So L7 right there, M8. L7, M8. And let's just double check our legend just to make sure we got our numbers right. Yep, L7, M8. So those are the two structures that we're going to take a look at, and both of those structures are on the backside of Dura Europa. So basically, family, we have a church and we have a synagogue, a church and a synagogue. The church has the oldest picture of Jesus to date. Now, it's funny because just to give you a little bit of information about this church, because I actually came across this church a long time ago when I first started coming into the truth as far as, who the true children of Israel are. And I noticed a couple of things because when this site was excavated, there was some institutions here in the States that tried to remove artifacts from there and bring it to the States. And because they weren't able to remove the artifacts of this church, in fact, the artifacts of this church is found in Damascus in Syria. It's at the National Museum in Damascus. And in Damascus in Syria, there's a little bit of whitewashing, which is what I'm going to show you here in a little bit, but not a whole lot. But when they took it back over into the States, there was a lot of whitewashing. Basically, family, this is a brother that does too much research sometimes talking to you here. Basically, what I did, family, was I pulled up it was either on Yale or Harvard's website where they had an in-depth website on it. And then I pulled up the actual artifact. And what you can see is that these institutions of higher learning purposely lighten or whiten all of the pictures. So if you go to an American U.S. institution, and if it's not like the primary a picture of the actual primary material, it's going to be lightened and whitened. It's almost like it's as if it was an automatic response or protocol that they follow when they bring stuff over here to the States and present it to us. It seems like they feel as though they have to whitewash it. But the artifact that's in the Damascus Museum, that one is not whitewashed. However, there is a little bit of whitewashing, and in my opinion, it's so obvious that it's funny. And we'll actually take a look at that here in a minute. But in either case, family, what we're going to do, what I've tried to grab for you is I tried to grab the original pictures of the original, of the original church. They've tried to preserve it as best they could. And it's being presented. So I tried to grab those pictures and not reproductions, not pictures where people took it, manipulated it and then tried to represent it to you. So that's what we're going to take a look at, family. So that's that. In addition to Dura Europa. So remember, we have the church and we have the synagogue. We have the church and the synagogue. So I'm just going to show you just a couple of some additional pictures just to so you can get an idea of what they look like. So this is Dura Europa. Again, this is the Euphrates River right in front of it. On the back side is where the church and the synagogue are located, right? It's right on the back side. It's either back here or back here. I'm not sure which one, but it's on the back side of this archaeological site. So that's where it is, right on the banks. And you can see this appears to be a picture of the actual dig site. Now, it has kind of multiple floors. You can't really get a perspective of how big this is. I do have a picture where there's a person in there so that you can kind of give put scale to it, just by having a person in there. But these are pretty big. Like each of these sections is kind of like as tall as one person. And this is like the first two levels. So there looks like in this particular picture, they haven't fully excavated it yet. They were getting past the first two levels, but then there's another level that's past this. Okay, so that's that. And it's funny also too, family, that a lot of these pictures, they won't publish in color. They will publish it in black and white. You know what I'm saying? Like the pictures in black and white, you can click on it and it's all full screen, right? But some of these pictures, now this is a good one. I believe this is from the Damascus. Yeah, this one looks like it's from the Damascus Museum. So this is one of the ones we're going to take a look at in detail here shortly. And that's that. There's other pictures of it. That's the excavation site. I believe that's it. They just have some models and mock-ups of it. And it's pretty much the same on some of these on some of these other sites where you'll see they have just pictures of the site, you know, pretty much the same right off of the Euphrates River. This is more pictures of the dig site. You can see how big those structures are. And again, black and white. They always do this, family. I'm telling you, we start to pick up on these tricks on the as if the camera ran out of color, right? You can click on this one. You can zoom in all day if you want to on this one. But you come down to this color one, you can't, they won't allow you to click on the color one to zoom in. But you can on these black and white ones. I'm telling you, family, that the hand, it's a subtle, hiding of the truth that they do on these pages. But again, like I said, let's just click on just a few of these just so that you can see. Again, this is from the Damascus Museum of Dura Europos. Now, this is a picture of the synagogue. That's another thing. In the synagogue, they have pictures of Israel. They have pictures of, Moses and Aaron leading the children of Israel out of Egypt, and, all the stuff that you would see in the Torah are the pictures or the frescos, they call them frescos, are the pictures that they would have in the synagogue. Over in the church, they have pictures of the Messiah. They have pictures of people who they call Jesus. And we'll take a look at that as well. And we'll take a look at some of these pictures as far as like where they're located in the fresco. And this is another picture. You can see there's actually a brother man actually doing some of the excavation. Doing the excavations. That's excavation of the Torah niche in Dura Europos. All right. So with that, let's switch over to our, I'm going to switch screens here, family. Let me see if I can bring this up real quick. Let me do this. Hopefully you can see that. And and with that being said, let me just adjust my screen so that you can see it. So now, family, we're going to get into the actual pictures. So again, this is the map that we were talking about. So we said L7 and M8. L7, and we said L7 is the synagogue right here. M8 is the Christian House Church. Christian House Church and the synagogue. So these are identified structures, and the fact that this picture of the oldest picture of Jesus, and this is in 235 AD, that is literally in a church. So there's no ambiguity. There's no questions as to who this is and what it's about. Now, I got to apologize for this picture. This one's a little bit grainy, but some of them, they will get in more high def as we go along. But this was the best one that I could find of the church itself. So you're looking at the inside of where the oldest picture of Jesus was located in this church. This is the inside of the church. And now what you're looking at is the oldest picture of Jesus, of what the world calls Jesus. Of course, we call Yahusha. And as you can see, he doesn't have long, flowing, golden hair, blue eyes, short, black, woolly hair. And I know it's kind of smudgy. It's not really in high def. And that's, again, like I said, family, it's in a lot of these pictures where the subjects are black, blurry. It's almost like catching Bigfoot. Like anytime they try to catch Bigfoot, they can't seem to catch a high definition picture of Bigfoot. He always on the move. And nobody has that high-speed film or camera or lens to be able to catch him. It's always blurry, and he's always behind the bushes. That's how they do these pictures of black folks. Like, it's always blurry. You can't really zoom in, but you can tell it's a black person, because of the color and the shape, right? Don't see long flowing hair. You don't see blue eyes. Black man. So this is the oldest picture of the Messiah in Syria, right across from the Euphrates River. Hallelujah. So when someone stands up and says Jesus was not a black man, that is incorrect according to archaeology, because the oldest picture of Jesus is of a black man, which is what you can see. That's not cap. That's not any extra, you know, dialogue on top of it. Just look at the picture. Now, I will preface this by saying, family, and hopefully we're going to reach out to Pastor Kelly Richardson tonight. I'm not sure if he's going to do a live tonight or if he may push it out to tomorrow. But definitely whenever, and he's on We Woke Now on YouTube, but definitely if you see a notification for We Woke Now going live on this topic again, definitely tune in, because Pastor Kelly has taken it an additional step. Because, you know, sometimes when these preachers come out of the blue and say these off the wall comments like that, there's a reason why they say that, because somebody might be in their back pocket. And shout out to Pastor Kelly. He's been doing some digging, and he has some shocking information about this church and his pastor when it comes to that. So definitely tune in. I believe he's probably going to be the first that's going to bring this out. So definitely tune in to We Woke Now, because he's going to take this up to another level. I know I'm going to be, most I will, and I'm definitely going to be tuning in on that. So, okay, so this is our starting point. This is the oldest picture of who the world calls Jesus. This is literally in a church, in the house, right across from the Euphrates River, 235 AD. Also in this church, there's a picture of what they call the Good Shepherd. And again, you don't see long flowing hair. You don't see blue eyes. You see dark skinned people. And you also see this short black woolly hair, the short black hair. Right. And for some of these, you can see where the paint, of course, the paint is worn off, is all light. But then on some places here, you can see where it's dark. Now, in addition to the oldest, you know, in addition to where the Messiah is found, the oldest picture of Jesus is found in Syria, in Dura Europos. There's also pictures in, of course, the Vatican. The Vatican, they have what's called the Black Madonna. You can just Google the Black Madonna, and they still have the Black Madonna today. And this is one of those pictures of the Black Madonna. In addition to, you know, over in Rome, another place where you can also find old pictures of the Black Messiah is also in Egypt, where the children of Israel spent a whole lot of time in Egypt. And these pictures they're called like Coptic pictures, the Coptic church. Basically, when you hear Coptic, just think Egyptian. So these over in Egyptian, you can find pictures of black, dark-skinned Jesus or Yahusha. So you can see it there on the screen. In addition to Egypt, you can also find pictures of dark-skinned, brown-skinned Jesus in Ethiopia. They were the one nation that was not colonized by Europe. So Europe was not able to come in and, you know, whitewash their churches, you know, take away, burn their books and give them a whitewashed version of the books. They had the books that they've had for thousands of or hundreds of thousands of years. And they still have the images that they had for hundreds or thousands of years. It's still there. And you can see it there right on the screen. This is, you know, from one of their buildings where Jesus / Yahusha is a brown skinned, dark skinned man with an afro. He's got a baby fro. And even the frescoes, the pictures and the paintings that are shown on the wall, this also is in Ethiopia. In their churches. This is in their churches, family. This is in their churches. So all of these are their pictures. And in addition to this, you may be asking, and it's not as though this is a standalone, piece of evidence. So not this piece, body of evidence goes along with all the other evidence that we're bringing out, and that's actually in this other book that's coming out, and that is the Messiah is from the tribe of Judah. And so in addition to the oldest pictures of Jesus being a brown-skinned, dark-skinned man having short brown, black woolly hair, we also have pictures that are even older than that. So in Lachish, in the city of Lachish, which is right outside the city of Jerusalem, it's Judah's second largest city. It's the second largest city only to Jerusalem. Lachish was unfortunately destroyed by King Sennacherib, the king of Assyria. And when the king of Assyria comes and destroys Lachish, he goes back home. He makes what they call a relief or a stone monument, depicting the people that he just conquered. And what you're seeing on the screen is a picture depicting the children or the tribe of Judah in 701 BC in Assyria. And again, you can see the same hair texture, short, woolly hair. You can't really see the color, of course, but you can surmise the color based off of the texture that they even painstakingly gave these brothers. So their hair must have been really nappy. It must have been really, really woolly for them to have to take the time. You realize how much time it had to take, family, to put those bumps on the back of that head, to put those bumps on that beard? You know, it must have stood out. It must have stood out, family. So in any case, this is one of the oldest pictures of the tribe of Judah, again, aka black man. And then, of course, there's also archaeology that goes along with it, because there was a mass grave site that was found in Lakesh that's associated with this event. And just to let you know up front, when they took a look at those bones or the skulls were skulls of black people as well. They can actually tell that by looking at the skulls. All right. All right. So let's take a look, family, let's go back to the synagogue. We're going to go back to Dura Europos, and we're going to take a look at the synagogue first. Well, I take that back. We're going to take a look at the synagogue. We first took a look at the church. Now let's take a look at the synagogue. And on your screen, family, what you can see is just to kind of call a pattern out to you. So one of the things, you look at this enough, you start to see a pattern. What you'll see, family, just looking at the screen, I'm going to point this pattern out to you. All the pictures on the bottom, all of these pictures are whitewashed. All of the faces are white, skin is white, all on the bottom level. All the pictures on the top are brown and black. I noticed this, like I said, I noticed this pattern a while back. But I take it back, family. I may have misspoke. The one picture or painting on the top level, because you see like there's two levels on the top and 1.5 on the bottom. Well, the one picture or painting on the top level that is white is the one that's right here. I don't know hopefully you guys can see my mouse. It's right here. But then why is this one white? Well, that's the one that has a step underneath it. It has a raised step so that whoever is able to whitewash can reach this picture. So it's funny because like this picture, just if you look at the pattern, it's like it explains the whitewashing that apparently that has taken place many, many years ago. And it's interesting because the pictures that are being whitewashed, or it's almost as if they didn't pay attention to what they're doing. If you're going to steal or cheat on somebody's work, they may not be familiar with the work that they're stealing or cheating off of. Well, on this fresco on the left-hand side, this is a picture of Moses, of Moshe. Moshe is depicted as a brown-skinned black person. He is the same person that's depicted over here, but he's been whitewashed. He is the same person that's depicted in this picture up here. He's still brown. So, this fresco has built in what I call error checking. So if anybody tries to go in and tries to manipulate it, they literally have to remember to manipulate all of it, because you can't just manipulate some of it, because the other pictures are going to testify to them manipulating the pictures, if that makes sense. Because again, we got pictures of Moses over here. He's a brother. And we got pictures of Moses up here. He's a brother. But then the one that's right above this step, all of a sudden, he don't have no color on his skin. Come on, family. They got caught. They got caught on that one. But this is from the synagogue from around that time, 235 AD. And the pictures of the children of Israel on the top are all brown, black people, with the exception of this one that's right over this step that has this step underneath it. And this guy is white. You got it? All right. All right. And then, family, these are just more shots or screens of the same thing. You can see that step I was telling you about that's right on the right hand side. gave whoever was a boost to be able to take care of this picture, in my opinion. But everything else on the bottom, all white, on the top, all black. This is a picture of Moshe. You can see the dark skin, white woolly hair. And this is what I was telling you about as far as trying to give you a scale on it. So this is an actual person, just to give you an idea of how tall it is, because sometimes when you're taking a look at it on the screen, you can't really tell how tall each section is. But here's a person right here, and you can see that whole section is the size of one person. So when you see the picture of Moshe, it's literally the size of a person. So this picture right here is the size of a person. It's the size of a person. All right. And we know that after 235 AD, we start to see the image of, who they call Jesus, the Messiah, Christ, Hamashiach, Yahusha, start to change from that black, brown person that we saw from the first picture, from the first fresco, literally in Syria, across from the Euphrates River. We then see it change over in Europe, over in the United States, to the golden-haired, blue-eyed surfboard guys with sun disk in the back, because these are what you're looking at whenever you look at these pictures. These are sun disk, right? All pale-skinned people. And this is what has changed over time. And this is what has, gone around the world. And actually, I forgot to read this to you, family. This is just an excerpt from, Most High willing, from the book that's on, who are the biblical Israelites. And this is from a section on the first images of Jesus. And this is from the book. I'm just going to read it to you here, family. And it says, this comes from chapter 2, section 2, the first images of Jesus, early depictions before empire. This is, like I said, a book, Most High willing. I think this one will come out a little bit after my first book. Well, this one will probably come out. We're shooting for early August, so we'll see. But here it is, family. Just reads. It says, before Jesus was a symbol of power, he was a target of it. In the first few centuries after his death, Christians were hunted, jailed, and martyred by the Roman state. They worshiped underground in catacombs and in secret houses or house churches. If they depicted Jesus at all, it wasn't for public display. It was for survival, for remembrance, and for reverence. And in these rare early images, we glimpse something that history nearly buried: a black Jesus. The earliest surviving visual representations of Jesus are not found in the cathedrals of Europe, but in a foreign church on the Syrian frontier, in a city buried by desert sand, Dura Europos. And it says, discovered in the 1920s and dated around 235 AD, the Dura Europos Church is the oldest known Christian house of worship with preserved wall paintings. And in those paintings, we find Jesus healing the paralytic, walking on water, and standing among his disciples. But what's most striking is not the but what's most striking is not the narrative, it's the face. So this is, again, an excerpt from the book, just to kind of give you an idea of how how I go into explaining who Jesus is and how he's changed over time, and why these pictures that we're seeing, that you see on the screen, are what they are. But then, of course, one of the things that we always hear, of course, after they change it, after they being the powers that be, have gone and burned books and changed and updated all these pictures. And then once we come into the truth and we want to put it back, they always say, well, why does it matter? I mean, it's not about what they call skin doctrine. Just leave it the way that they manipulated and lied about it. Just leave it at the lie. Don't change it back to the truth. Leave it at the lie. Well, let's read a little bit about why it matters. And this is from section 6 in the book that Most High will be released in August. So why does it matter? And it says, some might say it doesn't matter what Jesus looked like, that his color is irrelevant to, I'm sorry, got distracted here. It says, some might say it doesn't matter what Jesus looked like, that his color is irrelevant to his teachings, that his divinity transcends race. And yet the image of Jesus has shaped empires. It has adorned banners in crusades. It has stood in stained glasses over slave plantations. It has been weaponized, idealized, and globalized in the image of one people at the expense of all others. When the Lamb of God is painted to look like Caesar, the message is clear. God looks like us, not like you. This is not just art, it is psychology. A white Jesus has been used for centuries to justify power hierarchies, colonial dominance, and spiritual inferiority complexes. When millions of black, brown, indigenous are shown a savior who looks nothing like them, they are subtly told holiness is whiteness. Divinity has a skin tone, and it isn't yours. That's why it matters. So praise be to the Most High family. This provided just a little bit of information as to why it matters that these pictures and these paintings of the Messiah, the ones that you see on your screen, are incorrect and false, and that we need to bring back and go back to the original, the oldest painting of Jesus, the oldest fresco of Jesus in Syria, which is of a black man. And that why our brother that's in that church, what is it, 2819 church, why he's espousing false doctrine. Like, that is false doctrine and is easily provable, not only with the scriptures, but also with artifacts. So, Most High willing, he'll get some of this information, some of these screenshots and book prints and stuff like that. And he'll be forced to have to, come back and apologize to his church, that he led him astray on that one. So anyway, family, like I said, I just wanted to come on real quick. Just noticed that didn't see a whole lot of archaeological evidence being presented, and just wanted you to know that the evidence is out there, and that it is undeniable, and that there isn't any argument. Like, there's no argument as to if he was black or white. The very first pictures that he's black. So, all right. Well, all that being said, family. So peace and blessings. Like I said, keep a lookout for Pastor Kelly's video on We Woke Now. He has some revelations about the pastor and the church that you will not believe, that may just explain why all of a sudden he's coming out saying what he's saying. I'm just saying. I mean, people usually have a reason why they say what they say. So let's tune in to it. We Woke Now and see what nuclear bomb Pastor Kelly's about to drop on us. So, but all right, family, we'll love you, Mr. Ka. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat, and we will check you out later. Peace and shalom.
Tearing down idols and we cutting down posts. We calling back Israel to the hell we know. Throwing out crystals, we don't need these stones, and we ain't no gods. That's a job for y'all. I'll praise to the Most High. I'll praise to the Most High, Yahuwah. I'll praise to the Most High. I'll praise to the Yah Israel. Tearing down idols, we cutting down poles. We calling back Israel to the hell we know. We throwing out crystals, yeah. We don't need these stones. We ain't no gods. That's a job for Yah, yeah. down poles. We're calling back Israel to the hell we know. We're throwing out crystals. We don't need these stones. And we ain't no gods. That's a job for y'all. Everybody help me say all praise.